Hello everybody, Travis Pfeiffer here with a very special guest on my show. We have the one, the only, all the way from Germany. He is the winner of the RVA Returners Centennial 100 Celebration Big Saturday Tournament. Boom! It's Sascha Stark. Sascha?
Woo!
How you doing, baby?
Fantastic announcement.
Well, I had to hype you up. I had to, you just came off of a crazy win streak, so I didn't get to see the whole tournament. I played in, I was really going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to play because I had a lot of other work to do that day. So I started it, I played like 2 rounds, I just dropped. I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this other work. And then so I kind of just tuned in periodically to see, and I saw the finals match. I was actually working out in the middle of it, and I knew Nick Schnell was doing like this Fire Mill control deck. I was like, oh man, and that deck can give a lot of folks trouble. But then when we saw what you're playing, I was like, ooh, he's playing Sophie though, and he can go really wide. So, but we'll get into all that. So,
definitely.
Congratulations on your tournament win. Gotta say that first and foremost. So what was your prize exactly? Remind me what you won.
I will get 2 boxes of Opus 13, which is, I think, the biggest prize community driven which we ever had in FFDecg. Yeah. Sorry if I'm wrong to anyone, but yeah, we had like 1 box and stuff, but 2 boxes is just crazy.
You're gonna be set. Have you ordered any of your own boxes, or is this like, okay, cool, now I've got my supply?
No. I've got 2 boxes and 4 pre-release kits.
Nice.
Already ripped them and got the cards and
that's
traded.
Right, because you guys already have the cards. I was like, we're still waiting for them. We haven't even gotten them yet.
I have my deck right here.
Oh, nice. So you have it physically built. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Unfortunately, poor NA. We're just still sitting here like, gee, I'd like to play Opus 13. I hope it comes out soon.
Felt super bad for you guys.
I know. Yeah. It's been kind of a weird Opus, at least on our side, and maybe you guys haven't felt this because we don't have these cards yet. We only have the pre-release kits. We don't have the boss decks, but we can still play them. So like online, we're playing with folks. But like I had a couple buddies over last week, and we played cards in person, but we're all playing Opus 12 stuff because nobody has any Opus 13 cards. So it's this really weird kind of feeling right now. But I'm guessing it's probably more normal for you guys since you actually have all the cards right now.
Yeah. We're playing. No, we can't meet up currently because we're pretty shut down again here in Germany, but we have our weekly webcam tournaments which are very well organized and like always have like 16 people on it and playing with real cards and webcams and sweet pricing. I love it.
Nice. That's awesome, and you'll definitely want your real cards for that. So let's jump into the tournament. What was your record through Swiss?
I ended up 5-1 and was 3rd place after Swiss.
Gotcha. And you said you had 1 loss. Was that to Colin Rupert?
It was to our
him and I are buddies, and we played that one. He was the very first person I played, and I know at the time he was playing Sophie too. I'm assuming he didn't switch, although his version was a little different than yours. So, since he was your only loss, was he the toughest match you faced that day, or was there another like deck or something that really gave you a lot of trouble?
Yeah, I think I was quite lucky with my matchups. Well, if you like, we can go through the rounds, and I'll tell you something about the decks and the matchups and why this deck performed so well, and especially this fella here.
Yeah, so it's funny. I want to mention Braska's really quick. So there's this weird thing that happens when a new Opus comes out. So in Opus 11, March Ritz, Kadaj, Braska's were the terror of the Opus. They were just everywhere. And then in Opus 12, people like forgot about them, and there's this weird thing that I noticed some players do. They'll say, oh, they're not relevant anymore. It's like, it's not that they're not relevant or good. People are just trying new things, and especially in Opus 12 with the dual elements, there's a lot of new things to try. It's like, don't for a second think that Braska's is suddenly a bad card. Like, that guy still stomps all over your face. So, and I'm sure you would agree since you put him in there.
Definitely. Yeah, he got a little bit pressure from Locke.
Yeah.
And people playing answers to Neo Exdev in Opus 12 a lot, which also hitting Braska with Alexander, some Famfred stuff going on, and he doesn't felt that right until the very end of the format, when we got the other Firecast, Ranjit and
the Philia.
Then Marsh, Ritz, and Braska came back there, because the matchup against Locke was very good with Ritz is very good against these kind of decks. Against Earth Wind, they doesn't have any good removal for 3-cost forwards, and so that Earth Fire Marsh Ritz deck was brought them back.
Yeah, yes, I noticed you put March Ritz. So actually, we'll just talk about your deck here for a second, since it was the big winner. And I remember thinking that in the final match against Nick was that when you've got Ritz and Sophie on the field, it's like, okay, pick your poison. Do you want Sophie to deal you damage every turn, or do you want Ritz to keep swinging in? And they both give you value back. Yeah, so I would say, did you ever run into any issues with like being color locked or anything because you had Ritz and March and all these different, or was it not an issue at all?
It can happen, and I'm tested this deck a lot, but there's very much stuff fixing it, and you don't need every engine for every matchup.
Yeah.
So sometimes, Marsh Ritz are never really bad, but sometimes Sophie is not key to winning, and then you're passing on that, or sometimes Braska is just really bad in some situations. Like against Locke, you don't really want to put it out or stuff, and then you opt for the right engine to play there. Yeah, and the colors we got the backups with Sarah, searching for the Princess Sarah, which usually turns into fire. Gotcha. Because having our fire forwards Philia and Braska hitting 11k is super important in the current moment. And also the FFTA backups, the Alchemist, which is just a water backup.
Yeah, he's just a great water backup, and then he just makes March cheaper.
Oh man, I love this card. This card is just like crazy.
Yeah.
You turn any card in your hand into the answer for the current board, or the threat. I like to keep saying that this deck isn't looking for answers to other decks, but it has a threat for every deck.
Yeah.
It's different. So every deck needs to answer your stuff, which is a much better attempt on deck building and playing in general than trying to fit every answer for every deck into yours.
Yeah, well, and there's no denying, speaking of like the cards in hand, how much value you get. I don't know if you saw the Twitch stream at all that Snugsy was doing, but I mean, it was brought up over and over and over again because we haven't really seen anything like this before, where you would have these turns and you'd put out probably 4 forwards, Lena into Sarah, or Lena into Sophie, and then Fenrir into Sarah, and you would legit get out 4 forwards, end your turn, and you still have 5 cards in hand. And we're just like, how is that possible? Like, that is insane, the amount of value these cards are giving, that you can do all that. It's like, in the past, any deck that wanted to do that, okay, well, your hand's gone now. No, not this deck.
Then you get a total and you're dead. Right? But now you still have all the cards.
Yeah. That's insane. It's insanity. Like the value those cards give you with the Sarah, with just the free draw if you want it. Sophie, if you not only are you dealing them damage, you're drawing a card. It's like, it blows my mind that Necron came out 1 opus ago, and they're like, all right, we're gonna have this really convoluted way. You got to make like 5 dark cards on your board, and then maybe you'll deal 1 damage. And then they're like, okay, how about instead of that, we have this card that can be pulled back off of Fenrir or Lena and deals them damage, and is a bigger body, and draws you a card. It's like,
it became this card has been pushed on every part of the card. It's still pushed. They really wanted it to work, and so we are here with all Sophie decks.
Yeah, everywhere. Oh man, I saw so many of those this weekend. I was like, whoo. I mean, and again, no surprise, because obviously it's very good. And so let's see. So we know what works so great about Sophie. You teched in Braska's. Nice. Yeah, looks good. You teched in Braska's, and you put in Philia too, right?
Yeah, there are 2 Philia, 3 Braska, 3 Marsh are the fire cards.
Gotcha.
So Philia is our board wipe with the Princess Sarah and the Braska. Mm-hmm. So we have a Braska on board, and we plan to play the Philia. We can tap the Sarah, which is fire, putting Braska on 11k, surviving the Philia.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, just clearing everything and keeping your BFA.
Right. Sure.
Let's go from round 1.
You got it.
I played a European player, Ben van der Wacht. He also played a traditional, which sounds just wrong, right? Traditional trophy list is not right. We have to set like 1 month.
Yeah.
Had an Earth Water only Sophie deck. Yeah, some tech choices like Minwu to get a better fire matchup. Yeah, he was with the Minwu. He was far slower than me. I was hitting 5 backups. He was sitting on 3, and from then on, I applied pressure every time. Sophie decks can barely handle Braska's Final Aeon.
Yeah.
So that was round 1, and it was done quite quickly. So round 2 was another Sophie deck, but it was Mono Earth Monks. Also was the BFA that caused him so much trouble because he tried to kill it every time with his Ursula and taking all the backups, all the monks, everything was gone every time I played a BFA. And sometimes he survived even, so he was sitting there with 1 backup, me on 5, and
right. I would say because if he's playing BFA against monks, he'd basically have to sacrifice 3 monks to actually kill it, because he'd have to power 1 up. He'd have to use 2 to get Ursula strong enough to actually kill it, and then throw a which means that's rough.
And you have to play them on the board before, so you pay so much. And he couldn't do anything about this card there. He really needed some Shantoro or something to handle this. And I know that BFA is a bane for Sophie decks.
Yeah. Well, there's so much targeting in there, so it's like, go ahead, pick him. I dare you to Hecaton this thing. I dare you to fight him.
And I do have Hecaton as well, right?
Yeah.
Round 3 was Colin, and I had a pretty good setup with my 5 backups, and he was on 4 backups most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I played my BFA again, thinking it was a good plan, which it really was. But then we had the situation that he had an Agrias, which was on 10k.
Mm-hmm.
I had my Braska out and 3 cards in hand. My cards in hand have been Mist Dragon, Kryl, and another Braska's Final Aeon.
Okay.
So he then played a Kryl targeting his 2CP Leviathan in Break Zone, which could reduce damage. Then he played a Sarah Mobius targeting his Agrias and my BFA. My BFA then targeting his Agrias, so I don't receive the damage.
Right.
He was using the Leviathan then to reduce the damage, which was a mistake.
Right, because it can't be reduced, right?
It can't be reduced, but both of us didn't remember that, but it didn't come up at the mistake for him, because I played my Mist Dragon to cancel the Leviathan.
Oh.
Discarding all my 3 good cards, my Mist Dragon, my Kryl, and my other Braska, to do nothing.
Right.
Because it would have just killed him straight away.
Just fizzled anyway. Or not fizzled, but it wouldn't have mattered. He would have just gone right through it.
Yeah, exactly. So I still kept my BFA. It wasn't that bad. But I paid with 3 important cards from my hand. And after that, I was just drawing backups for the next turn. 2 backups. Only having the Braska, which was still pretty good.
Right.
But after that, he managed to kill the Braska and removed my break zone, and I just got the puzzle pieces that couldn't got into the game really, and he was getting into Sophie. He got the Sophie board afterwards, and I couldn't do as much because my break zone was removed the whole time. With the other 3 cards in my hand, this wouldn't have been a problem at all.
Right.
And then I did a small mistake in the end, because when I'm playing Octagon, I put up both break zones.
Yeah, I did that too.
And I had his break zone on my deck side, which you shouldn't do. You should always put, I think, your own deck on your deck side, your own break zone on your break zone side, and the opposing one on the other side. I had him up, so I thought I just saw a Sophie in there. And I thought I had a Sophie.
Oh, man.
And I played the Ursula, or I planned to play the Ursula. I planned around it and wanted to play the Ursula, and just, oh, damn, I don't even have a a Sophie in there, and yeah, that was really stupid. And after that, it was easy going for him, and I couldn't answer the Sophie, which dealt a 7 point of damage.
Well,
but I really think
there's something kind of comforting knowing someone as good as you can still make mistakes. So there's hope for lesser players.
A lot. But as I started playing the deck, I've done some terrible things.
Well, and I'll comment on that really quick that when you're watching a game too, it's way easier than when you're actually playing it, because I've casted some games recently for League of Light, and I notice when I'm casting, first of all, there's no pressure on me because I'm not actually sitting there playing trying to win, so I can just freely analyze the whole board. Whereas even when I'm playing, even having that casting experience, there's still part of I'm in the game and I've got this pressure on me to try to win, so I'll make like plays that. And if I had that outside view, maybe I wouldn't have done, but because I was in the moment, I'll still blunder or whatever. So that was round 3. Tell me about round 4.
Yeah, round 4 was really unfortunate for my opponent because he was playing Science.
My heart. Go ahead.
I like Science.
Too.
And he started with an Alphinaud, discarding the Louisoix, where I was like, okay, you got something going there.
Right.
He had the Alizé for the next turn, and played the Ida straight away to deal the damage. But the Ida was only 6k.
Yeah.
And I had my one of Scamiglione in my starting hand. I always keep Scamiglione in starting hands because I always think my opponent playing Samurais. And when they gonna Magissa, and I have the Scamiglione, the Magissa blows herself up.
Right, which is great.
Which is so awesome. So I kept the Scamiglione because I had another backup. And he attacked with his 6k Ida, and I played my Scamiglione, targeting her.
Oh man.
Getting double damage, and then blocked with the first strike, 3k, dealing 6k, and Ida just dead. that was hilarious. But after that,
that's why you never put Ida out unless she's at least like 8 or above.
It's dangerous out. Yeah. In the next turn, he drew Minfilia, which was good, but then he disconnected and couldn't reconnect at all, which was really unfortunate. We got to talk in the whole time. He didn't disconnect on Discord because he was on phone.
Yeah.
There it was Cesar Gonzalez playing there, but he had some trouble with the internet connection, and then we had the judge there, and he would have gave us 10 more minutes, but we have been so far in the game. Yeah, it was unfortunate. Good for me because it was a 7-0 win then. Good for my breakers in the end, but yeah, it's not the way I want to win.
Sure, you'd rather just say
I really like Science as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so then what happened in round 5?
Yeah, round 5 was against the Wolverine, the Josh Gardner.
Schnink!
Yeah, exactly, and it bit fit like that. He played Mono Fire, but yeah, against Mono Fire, the Fenrir is a huge card.
Yeah.
They don't have that much backup search. I think he was running Dominion Legionary, and I was killing 2 or 3 backups again in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my 2 Fenrirs in deck, I really played this card too often. So there's a point for 3 Fenrirs definitely in the most decks currently.
Right. But you've got Kryl too, so you've got a way to get it back if you need it. I mean, that 2-for-1, breaking a backup and then bringing back one of your forwards, or as we saw in the final match, you used it to break his bomb to just remove that threat. And something, especially against fire, I think people kind of undervalue is getting rid of a blaze so that they can't use its action ability. That's huge. That's really big.
Yeah, that was round 5, I think. Yeah, breaking his backups, he being on the back foot, me going on to 5 backups, and having Braska was a threat as well, I think, if I remember correctly. Might be wrong. Maybe the 3 backup thing was enough. Yeah. And round 6, it was the win and in. Pretty excited against Sam Toole.
Oh, okay.
Such a lovely person. Really like this guy. Yeah, with a not so lovely deck. He played Ice Wind with Neo XF in it.
Oh gosh.
And I'm one of the people that really hates this card and doesn't think it's healthy for the game at all.
You're
and
not alone in that.
I'm always for healthy meta games and stuff going out there.
Did it give you any trouble? Did Neo X Death come down, or was it mainly just the more Ice Wind stuff?
This game was kind of weird because he got the lock very early and got some real aggression going on. but I was on 3 backups, and that's all you really need if you have the 3 colors ready there. Yeah, he put me under pressure, but I managed to top deck the pieces of my puzzle right straight away. So I drew into Sophie and Ritz in the same turn, with having a Marsh in hand and a Lena and Sarah out.
Oh man.
So then the Ritz Marsh came out and the Sophie afterwards, and then my board was just too huge for him to handle at the moment. Then his Neo X-Dev came out, but doesn't do
at that point
anything.
Yeah, it's too late at that point. Yeah, that's pretty brutal, Gav. The Ritz, you get to reactivate your backup, so then you could just play the Lena off of that too. That makes sense. Yeah, when it comes down for 2. Did you ever have the awful situation where like Lot comes in, it's like, okay, break Brotzkas, don't freeze both, and you go to target and they go, that's nice, Althea it back to my hand, now you can't even kill it. Oh, that'd be terrible.
No, I don't play the Braska in that matchup.
That's
only if I'm very far ahead and I don't have another play or don't want to commit more, then I had put one out. But otherwise, you just can't do that when you expect a lot.
That's funny. Okay, so that was your Swiss round then. So that would have moved you into quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. So who did you play in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I played against this super weird deck from Alan Coe.
Oh, okay.
He's Len Balls.
Oh, okay. And he played I've seen his name on there.
He played a Fire, Ice, Earth deck.
Okay.
With I don't even know. Okay, the key card in the deck was Deleter, the 2-cost Deleter, the new one.
Okay.
The Ice Earth one. He played so many good 2-cost cards that Deleter, the plan was, I think, Deleter grabbing all the time the right piece out of your break zone, the right 2 CP card. And he had some really cool tempo plays, and the Nimbus was also in there. There was Braska in there. There was Veritas in there. There was Shadowlord in there.
Oh, wow.
It feels like a deck that can answer everything.
Yeah.
But exactly this was the problem. I knew the exact deck list, and I knew that when I put out a Sarah and a BFA, he couldn't do anything against it. Because when he has the Veritas, I just sacked the Sarah.
Right.
And when he has the Shadowlord, it's only dying the Sarah, and I have my BFA ready. So yeah, looking at...
Did he play the Dark Shadowlord, not the Earth one?
Yeah, the Dark Shadowlord.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, he also killed 2 of my stuff, which I just put out in a situation where it was okay.
I mean, Sophie has a lot of 2 costs, so in a way that does make sense.
Yeah, it's a good card against that matchup, definitely. But yeah, when you know that your opponent has this, then you can play around it, or just get onto the board when you're ahead, when you're allowed to. And yeah, in the first match, he got all his backups going, but it was exactly the Braska's final Aeon he couldn't answer when I put other forwards beside to him. And also his summon, he played the Bahamut, dealing 10k, and I had always kept my Sarah up to buff my BFA to 11k. So yeah, that was important as well. And yet, like Titania was in the deck with only 2 monsters in there. Huh. And when the monsters have been in the break zone, I knew that's only these 2 monsters. I removed his break zone, so his Titania...
Wow. So he can't even use it at that point.
Yeah, but getting information about the deck of your opponent is so valuable with playing such a deck. And yeah, game 2, he didn't draw any Earth backup, and had only his Fire Ice stuff going on, which is not that much.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. My first game, so I played Scions too for like 2 matches, and my first game, I kid you not, it took me 14 cards into the deck before I saw an Earth card. It was all Lightning. I just kept drawing all the Lightning cards.
Oh, usually Lightning is the one that you're missing, right?
Right, yeah. Well, and like mine is pretty well ratioed. It's like 26-24, 25-25. It's just one of those days where like, oh, I don't have any Earth cards. I'm just drawing Lightning.
I always have more of the Lightning, more of the Earth cards in there. Yeah.
Just, I saw on his stream, Alex Hancock's was playing a Sophie match, and he legit, there was a game he dead drew into all his backups. Like, I think there was like 4 turns in a row he just kept passing because he just kept drawing backups. And his opponent was like, why aren't you playing forward? He's like, I'm not drawing any. I'm just drawing every single backup I have.
That's actually a very good point. I have to say we was able to switch cards in the deck or switch the deck in Swiss.
Yeah.
And after my lose against Colin, I cut it from 17 backups to 16 backups. And also, no, it was later before top cut. It was like this because I thought when I'm in top cut, I'm very good with I'm alright with playing only 16 backups because in best of 3 you have more hands.
Yeah.
You have more chances to you can with one game and maybe lose it, and and not have the problem of drawing only backups again. Right. So I was turning one backup into a second Ursula. That I think was the place.
So it sounds like quarterfinals treated you pretty well. He didn't give you too much trouble. Who did you face in the semifinals?
I have to do a quick shout out to Alan because Len was he also topped in the Zarnakand Open with his super weird Earth deck. He has some crazy ideas, and which is very awesome. I never come up with ideas like this, and so big shout out to you, boy. Top 4. It was against Sam again.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you faced off Sam.
Yeah, Sam beat the 7-0, 6-0 player, Ryan Chan.
Okay.
Ricardo. Viridian.
Yeah. Whichever one he's going by, yeah.
Yeah. He played an Earth, Water, Ice.
Okay. Build. Was that what he played the first time? Was it a rematch, or did he change decks?
No, Sam played in the top 8. So Sam was the only X2 player that made it into tops.
Okay.
He then beat the first place.
Yeah.
With his Earth, Water, Sophie deck, and he still was playing the Wind, Ice Neo X Death.
Neo X, gotcha. And did Neo X Death give you any trouble this time? Did he even show up again, or was he kind of just?
No, it's not a deck that plays Neo X Death first turn.
Okay.
Because you need your resources to get to the lock and stuff. It's more like a backup plan, or later on when your opponent is struggling because you're freezing stuff and so on, and when you then put down a Neo X Death, it can cause you trouble, but didn't so much against me because we are Fenrir and stuff, and when I know there's a Neo X Death coming around at some point, we are prepared.
Yeah, you're just holding on to that Fenrir, be like, okay, ready when you are.
And it was quite lucky. So game 1 was pretty back and forth, I'd say. But game 2, it was him not finding ice cards. Playing mono wind, and playing mono wind can be cool when you play mono wind cards, but
yeah, not when you're trying to split the two.
Yeah. So, and when I get my backups going and the Sophie, and the Ritz is very good in that matchup when he's trying to freeze stuff and you activate it. And so it was another 2-0. Top 8 was also 2-0. And then we went to the finals against Nick.
Yeah, and he was doing his mono fire, what they call like mono fire mill, because basically he's not really even interested in attacking you that much. He's just going to sit there, remove every single forge you put down, use Lonnie to steal your cards. Do you remember? I don't remember how many times he Lonnied you. Do you remember exactly what he stole? I know one time he stole a Tyro from you, and we were all like, whoa, like what a steal. That's ridiculous.
That was good. I had to Fenrir that Tyro straight away.
I saw that. Yeah, you're like, no, you can't keep that. I need that back.
I was riding on the wolf in the in the finals there. The other time it was he already kind of lost, but he played my Ritz with his Lani, and then cast Belias on her and got a damage in there.
I'm trying to remember that.
Which was a really cool play. But it was over at that point. Yeah. You saw the finals. It was when I saw the list and I knew I was drawing a lot of cards, and I was a bit worried about some of the cards, but I also saw that his backup line can be difficult because he doesn't have any backup searches, and I think there was no Geomancer or stuff that really gets you closer to the next backup. And so I was like, okay, if I curve out well, then it's all good. And
When I saw the matchup, I was like, I'm pretty sure Sascha can outvalue him, because I don't think he had much AoE in that deck. I think maybe he had Filia, but like he didn't have Ifrita.
He had 2 Filia.
Yeah.
No, there was no Ifrita.
So, and I know how much the Sophie deck, you can just get so many for it. And, I think John and Chris were saying that on the cast too. It's just like, if he just jams out a bunch of forwards, he can only deal with so many of them. So, yeah.
And when he played the Filia, I had the Cuckoo Lane.
Yes, I always saw that. They made the funniest, I guess, because Cuckoo Lane, he has that face where he's like, and they said that he's doing this like, ooh, yeah, I'm going to need you to lose your abilities. Hope that's okay. Yeah, that was just like, oh, what was funny is when you did that on the stream, the Final Fantasy VI opera music kicked in right as that happened. So I pictured Filia like climbing over the castle and like breathing fire, and then Kukulin comes and like bops him on the head, and you hear, oh, he's like falling to his death. It was very, very poetic.
You go to horny jail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bonk, you're going to horny jail. You were great, man. Congratulations. So maybe you don't want to give away this secret, but I have to ask. Sophie has obviously been everywhere in the meta, and it's incredibly strong. It just seems to do everything. You get a ton of forwards. The value is you always get your backups ramped up. Like most of the Sophie decks I seem to play, they're on 5 backups by turn 3 at the latest. You keep so many cards in hand, as we said earlier. Does this deck have a weakness, or is it just like so consistent and strong that it's just really hard to overcome?
No, it might be like the best control deck in the format, but it definitely has weaknesses. And so just imagine you have a 2 CP win forward attacking you and milling you 5 cards. That's horrible, No, sure.
Does it really give you trouble though? Because you've got Sarah Mobius, I was gonna say, I feel like you could easily. So I've tried to kind of come up with some ideas. One of the things I thought about was actually Fel Thanos. I think stops a lot of the things in that deck. You can't use Agrius, you can't Hecaton, you can't Sarah Mobius. The Fel Thanos is just going to absorb all of that. Now, obviously, you can just like get a big board and go past him, but as they can't actually target him, because I don't think you have anything. You'd have to like, in your case, you would use Broskas, but not everybody runs Broskas if they're just doing the Water Earth. And of course, you have Filia, but so I think there's some answers out there, but I don't know, man. The deck seems so strong and so consistent. It just doesn't seem to suffer from much, which is why I wondered if Mist Dragon, like, how much did Mist Dragon actually hurt it?
Yeah, Mist Dragon can hurt, but it's always like the decks that can play Mist Dragon are also vulnerable to your own Mist Dragon.
Right, exactly.
Kinda. The mannequins are definitely the biggest threat,
really?
I'd say.
How come?
In the middle. It's just sometimes it's too fast. Yeah, the biggest weakness of the Sophie decks is you need 2 right backups to be able to do something.
Okay.
So if you can get into the deck before he really got this going, so yeah, okay, that's not fitting for the mannequins. Going on that first, Neo Exdev being very big and all the stuff getting free, and if your opponent draws like 2 Warlock early, you can really beat that because you're not that fast. And
right.
And that's.
And you can't really break any of those backups either with Fenrir. Like if they're just doing the blocks and Lady of Antiquity.
You can hope for a Pyro there. But it's also it's a rough matchup, and I lost to that in the Zanarkand Open with Robert Meadows playing that.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. And but the other point is freezing backups can hurt a lot.
Gotcha.
So getting crazy fast locks is a way. And there's one other deck I have to mention here. I played that deck a lot as well. That's why I know this. The Cloud Pot deck. The
7.
FF7 deck.
That one's brutal because it feels like if Cloud resolves even a single time, it's just game over. Like you've already lost at that point, which is just crazy value.
Yeah, I'm currently playing this sometimes in the League of Light as well.
Yeah.
Just had my match started before against Chocobo Joe.
Oh man.
Joe Lachinsky. And it was 1-1 now, and we have to finish it another time because he got to the cinema.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah,
no, that makes sense, especially if like those remnants are coming down early, and like you said, they just freeze all your backups. Hey, I have 5 forwards on board. Do you have Shantoto? No. Okay, well, you're gonna lose. No, that's great. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about the RVA Centennial?
Yeah, let's speak about the elephant in the room, man. This event, these guys have done 100 tournaments, 100 weeks of tournaments. That's amazing, man. It's a shame that these tournaments are on like 3 a.m. Wednesday my time.
Oh yeah, it'd be really late for you. Yeah, because I think it's like 6 p.m. for me. It's 7 p.m. for John when he starts them.
Yeah, it's not possible in weekdays when I'm not free or something.
Right.
But yeah, that's just such a crazy amount of work. John and the other parts of the team putting in there, also putting out the podcast and doing the stream, and wow, it's crazy.
Yeah,
really. They need some support from Square Enix quickly.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. I'll say huge shout out to them and thank you for all that they do. And because we wouldn't even have these events if they didn't do it, and if people like Greg Cole from The Light and James Lockwood from Cards of Ivalice contributed these prizes, so you could have something as cool as, hey, we can give away multiple boxes of product. That's awesome, because without that, hey, we'll send you one promo because no one can afford anything. So yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I would love to see Hobby Japan or Square Enix really back some of these guys and help prop them up however they can.
Yeah, exactly. And also have to do a shout out to the NA community. I know and love my European community because that's people I'm going to tournaments with and have friends all around Europe. But yeah, the NA community is still so welcoming to players from outside, and I'm posting like my funny videos or something, putting it up, and everyone is so cheerful and so lovely out there. Big shout out to you guys. Yeah, for this, your content is, it's awesome.
Thank you.
I really enjoy it.
I appreciate that. So we got to mention the photo, and maybe I'll throw it up here in the center. You posted this photo before the tournament where you were saying, hey guys, stay healthy. And you looked like you had the most nutritious breakfast ever. You had what looked like some nuts, some fruit. And, it's funny because you obviously then went on to win. So it was almost like this prophetic photo of like, this is a man before he wins a tournament. And, and then now we have him afterwards. So it was just a neat photo anyway, but it was then so appropriate you went on to win afterwards. Did you just post that for fun, or was there like a certain thing you were going for with that?
It was before the Zanarkand Open. I had my little videos going on from tournament preparation, and that's the stuff I'll do today. I have some walk outside, and I go and make my tuna salad, and it's basically joking on the fact that some people in the community are called influencers, and I also was part of the tournament, the Influencer Cup, and it's basically building up on this joke, being influencer, posting videos and photos and stuff. And I'm the influencer here. You should stay healthy and stay hydrated, right? and my bathrobe is just, I love this.
Yeah, that
thing.
was great. Yeah, well, and then at the end of the night, I think you dropped like, what was it? It was BFA. I can't remember Ritz. The other two were Ritz and then Sophie on your bathrobe, which was such a funny picture. So.
Yeah, I sometimes have these stupid ideas, and also with the photo of me lying in the bath room, in the bathtub, with on booster packs, papers. My roommate doing this stupid stuff with me, and I always come up with some stupid ideas and funny thing, and that's something.
Well, you're very charming, so we definitely like to see it. So that was the RVA Centennial. Sascha Stark is our winner. Now, a lot of you out there, I'm sure, may have seen his deck, been like, this is amazing. I've got to play it myself. And so that's going to turn us into our next topic, which I know Sascha wanted to mention something on, and that is the idea basically about net decking versus creating your own deck. So Sascha, what did you want to tell us about this?
Since the beginning of FFTCG, that's a topic that comes up all the time, and always, I'm not a great deck builder. If I see the cards, I'm pretty decent at draft, and I love stuff when we have a very closed universe or closed pool of cards. I can figure out what might be the best there. But yeah, even like Opus 2, I was already it was already too much for me to think of. And seeing cards, I don't really get the idea of, this card has the potential to be a top tier deck. You know, when you see a card like Sophie, you can imagine there's something. But in me, there's always like this doubt. Yeah, it's Earth Water. It has not so much support before. Has never seen. Might be a niche play or with, maybe a fun deck or maybe something like that. But that it turns out to be so crazy, this things doesn't come together in my mind. And I try to train this stuff and try to look at cards and think all of the what is stuff that can win games. Being an unblockable forward, that activating 3 backups. I got that this is a good card, the Ritz.
Some of them are easy to read. Some of them are like, well, this is obviously incredible. But like Sophie, I didn't think she was bad. I thought she was fine. But I had never truly appreciated lines like, oh, both Fenrir and Lena can pull back this very same card and her counterpart in Sarah Mobius. Like, that's something I had never considered until I saw it, and I'm getting my ass whooped by it. I was like, oh, well, that's what that does.
I mean, I even see these connections because I'm very into this whole stuff. And when spoilers are come up and we have the discussions on all the cards, Lena is an Opus 3 card.
Right.
You pay 5 CP to get a 2 CP card out of your break zone. Man, I'm playing my Marsh. It's a 3 CP card, getting a 3 CP card out of my break zone. Activate 3 cards. Why would I ever play a Lena? That's the way my thinking is going then. And then you look at that and everything's getting crazy. Man, even X-Death, the mannequins for me. A nice niche aggro deck maybe. Some fun stuff with old mannequins. Some people come off with it. But then, it smashes me so hard. And,
to me, that's one of my favorite parts about when the spoilers come out and then when you get your hands on the set. I love the first reactions based on what the text reads, and then when you actually play the card. Because some hit right where you expect them to. Yeah, that did what I thought it would. Some far exceed it, and others are like, man, I thought this would be great. This does not feel good to play at all. Like, to me, that's really enjoyable to find, how your expectations match up.
Absolutely, and seeing that people like Alex are super wrong on some cards, it's just a joy that needs a word.
Yes, absolutely. What was funny, I remember when Alex and Hancock's and I did our Opus 12 recap, we talked about Fenrir. It was like, unfortunately, it didn't really succeed. This card might never see play. One Opus later, and it's just the card to be feared. It's this card like, well, I can't play big backups anymore. Fenrir will break them. I can't play monsters. Fenrir will break them. I can't play Dark and Light anymore. Fenrir's going to break them. Fenrir's everywhere. Oh, like that. Wolf is just, it's just so funny that, he went from like, no one really uses him to like, oh my God, he's everywhere.
Or maybe you saw like cards like Sarah or Sophie, and you're like, man, there might be one Fenrir getting into the deck. That's, it could be cool in some situations there. Exactly. And it's really building decks and seeing these connections is a skill I am lacking, definitely. And so from the beginning of playing FFTCG, I played very casually with my friends. I made my friends here in FFTCG. Most of the guys I'm playing with I didn't know before. Only my roommate, which is my roommate again. We are playing together. From the beginning on, I was looking at decks that has performed well, like in Japan or in UK in the beginning, and copying this. And this was something that people didn't like at all. And you don't get the credit for your win because you're playing something someone else invented, and your win is less worth than winning with your own creation. Kind of weird. I can get where this comes from, because people should get respect for getting cool ideas, and which are very well working. So Alex and Chris especially, which is just a crazy genius one building X.
I still haven't forgiven Chris for his Opus 11 Fire Earth deck with the Kadaj and the Martrits in it, because that deck was everywhere. And
then the FF7 build as well.
The Cloud
was from him as well. And then the infinite combo decks from man, this guy is a madman. I love it. And I couldn't have had any better partner in the Influencer Cup because I'm lacking deck building skills. I'm a pretty solid player, and this mixing together was really cool. And yeah, me playing in the TCG League season finals against Chris was also crazy. This match gone for 3 hours because he was playing an infinite build.
Oh god!
And we didn't have any timeout thingies, and I was like just dying. He won on the last card in his deck. He got the infinite going, and had all this stuff. And that was one of the most amazing matches ever.
What a filthy degenerate.
Yes.
That's so funny. You know, it's interesting you say that about net decking and such. And like, I see where that's coming from. The idea of like, oh, well, you didn't build that deck. But I guess I've been of the mindset that, I mean, there's only so many cards in the game. And usually all the combos and lines are figured out pretty quickly into an opus. You know, it didn't take long for Sophie to show up. And at that point, like, you know, only so many people can be the first to go, oh, I discovered that these two things work together. So I don't know. That doesn't personally bother me. That like, yeah, of course, you know, just play it well, grab a deck you like, you know, to me, play a deck you like, whether that's someone else came up with it. And what you said too, I hadn't really thought about this before, Sascha, but you just saying it now has put it in my thought that, you know, deck building and playing are two very different things. You can be quite a good player, but just not really good at deck building, or vice versa. Maybe you have these great ideas, but when it comes to the actual play time, you know, maybe you make mistakes or you get in your own head too much or whatever. So,
yeah, I definitely know people that are like that. Steve Dolman.
Oh, okay.
From the YYT.
Yeah.
Always builds crazy decks, super solid decks, very good ideas. And when he's playing, he doesn't have the confidence in the deck that he come up with, or struggling with the pressure or stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Stevie. And then there are some other people like me that are, I learned this as well, staying cool in tournaments, kind of.
It takes practice, yeah. That's not easy. So remind me with your deck from RVA, did you completely build that yourself, or did you kind of get I mean, it's obviously Sophie is the core, that's kind of established, but you put in your March Ritz and your BFA, etc.
No, it's kind of fun story. The deck is from Ryan Stolarski.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And he posted it like day 1 or day 2, and he spent like 12 hours looking at all the cards and putting pieces together. And people saw the deck, and people were like, "Yeah, sure, right. Buddy, you found the." He said he solved the meta, and presented that. And everyone was looking at that. Yeah, there are 4 colors in the deck. Sure, sure, you solved the meta. Sophie wasn't even, was considered being very good, but not being this crazy as she turns out. So people were like, yeah, okay. And I know Ryan for a while, and I looked at the deck and I saw, man, there's a Ritz in there. There's a Bruska in there, and there are this cool new cards in there. So that's like 4 colors.
Right.
But this might work out. And from this moment on, I hit him up, and we built together, and we practiced the matchups. I was, before the Saarland Open, I tested against one player, and he played a lightning water Viking deck.
Okay.
And I was super scared of that deck, because my Sophie deck, I wanted to talk about this deck in the regards before. This deck just crushed me all the time, because it doesn't need to. It has the Vikings, the new Viking.
Okay.
When he presents like 2 to 3 forwards first turn, you really need like Philia, but they draw the cards when their Vikings die.
Right.
And some very aggressive decks can be the key to beat Sophie, but then you also need to beat Fire, which is hard.
I always find aggro is kind of feels like a slot machine of just like, sometimes you're just going to rush them down before they can do anything, and then other times they'll have a Philia or a Shantoto or some way to just board wipe you, and then you just lose. So, yeah. I have a lot of players at my local who love to play aggro, and it can be really, because I'm like a mid-range player, so it's so fresh. Like, oh my God, guys, can I just put down a backup? Like, why am I having to answer 4 forwards on turn 1? Stop it.
Absolutely. So me and Ryan have spent far too much time to find answers for the deck. but no one plays this deck.
Yeah.
And it's not even that good because it loses to fire and loses to some other stuff.
Sure.
But I just got scared by this so badly because every other matchup field felt like, yeah, even if I lose, I could have done something different.
Yeah.
The deck is very complicated to play, and it took a lot of me to play this right. We've spent far too much time before the Samarkand Open to test against this Viking deck, and didn't play it a single game against mannequins.
Right. That'd be so funny if in the finals it's like, all right, who's my opponent? And the Vikings come down and be like, no, it can't be. Yeah. That's so funny, man. All right, folks, that will be our interview with Sascha. Sir, I can't thank you enough for coming on here a day after your magnificent victory and coming in to celebrate and just kind of, shoot the breeze with us and give us all your info. Is there any shout-outs or anyone you want to mention on your way out?
I've did a lot of shout-outs today. Maybe some, hey, Square Enix stuff. You and Hobby Japan, you have a pretty cool game.
Yeah. I'm sure they like to hear that. No, that's awesome, man. Congrats again on your win. You absolutely deserved it. Your deck is, I wouldn't want to play it. I'll say that because it just seems like it's a pain in the butt to deal with and seems like it would be very difficult to solve. But I hope you get some great pulls from those boxes you get, and you'll have to show us that RVA shirt you get because I'm excited to see that.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, you can, of course, leave them below, and we will see you next time. Take care.